There is no doubt in my mind that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and Pro Skater 4 are two of the most iconic Xbox games ever made. And at an exclusive preview event in Los Angeles, I was able to play through 5 levels of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, 3 levels of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, as well as a brand new level called Water Park. And for me, the verdict is super clear and makes me so excited for when they launch day 1 on Game Pass on June 11th, because these are the best versions of Pro Skater 3 and 4 I've ever played. And in case you didn't know, these are basically newly remade versions of the original 3 and 4 games, but with a streamlined 2-minute format that you'd find in Pro Skater 3 applied to all of the levels, so including Pro Skater 4. But the detail they've been recreated in is astonishing. It has the exact same physics and the exact same layouts and locations as the original games, which means that it's super intuitive for people that played the originals like myself. But what is different, and I think is fairly obvious from the gameplay that I captured at the event, is that these remakes are visually gorgeous. I mean, the lighting was a particularly big improvement that I found over the originals. It feels like there's just so much more life and believability across all of the different parks that you're going to be skating in. Not to mention just how good the pro skaters look themselves. I mean, as far as I know, they've all been newly scanned in so that you get the most accurate renders, but everything just really popped about them, and even their movement in particular felt like they have their own individual identity, which is something that's super important for skateboarding as a culture. But before I get too in-depth about everything that really impressed me about the game, let's just cover what exactly is in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. The Pro Skater series is basically the king of arcade skateboarding experiences, with tons of different maps to skate across, all with different challenges that you need to complete in a 2-minute timer, which is slightly different to how Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was originally designed, but I think it actually works quite well in this new format. You see, back in the day with Pro Skater 4, you would basically just free skate across the map rather than having that 2-minute timer restriction to complete your goals in. And you would just go up to an NPC to start a goal and then have a new timer just for that specific challenge. But what this new format does is it kind of streamlines the whole experience so that rather than having to run around the park and just seek out these NPCs, you just get down to what you're really there for, which is just skating around, racking up huge combos, and completing some wacky challenges along the way. It's all much more free-flowing, there's less interruptions, less sort of churn as you're looking for specific goals to complete, and as well as that, they've also added in options to extend the 2-minute timer if you'd like to have a bit of a longer skate session. You can actually go from 2 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even all the way up to 60 minutes for a full hour of free skating around, completing goals to your heart's content. And besides, if you ever wanted to check, which goals am I still missing? Well, you can just press start and check which goals haven't been ticked off the list yet. What is cool though is that they are adding in a new Game Plus mode, which is a brand new feature to 3 and 4. I'll admit that there are limited details on what exactly New Game Plus mode is going to be, other than retaining the earned stats that you will have gotten for all of your skaters, but I'm excited to see what that means when the game launches. But it's not just the existing pro roster of skateboarders that you can play as, you can also create your own skater in the aptly named Creator Skater. And there'll be a huge amount of options for clothing, for boards, for trucks, for wheels, anything that you want to customize to really just own your own style, as well as being able to choose the tricks that you want to apply to your own skater. But one of the key things that I'm really glad they've kept the same is the soundtrack. Now, not all of the tracks from the original games still feature, but what they have done is taken bands that used to be on those games and brought in some fresh tracks from them. So instead of Number of the Beast from Iron Maiden, we instead get 2 Minutes to Midnight, which, if you ask me, is actually a better song anyway. But there's also modern tracks as well from newer bands that have influenced skate culture today, which I think is a really important inclusion because skateboarding as a whole and as a sport has really evolved in the 20 years since these games first released. The full track list has now been revealed and honestly it looks great, but for the streamers out there you can also choose a content appropriate streamer mode so that you're not worrying about any takedown notices or anything like that if you're using the licensed music from the game while streaming or making your own content. Nice feature. As for online play, well, this game features online cross-play multiplayer for up to 8 people, as well as that classic split screen as well for those of you who love a bit of couch gaming. But something I love and is definitely a big step up from Pro Skater 1 and 2 is the fact that Creator Park levels, which is basically a feature that lets you make your own custom skate parks, is now going to be fully cross-shared across all 7 platforms that the game releases on. Previously, what this meant is that if your friends made a skate park that was on a different platform to what you played on, they couldn't share that with you, but no longer the case with 3 and 4, a big plus in my book. But what about the gameplay? Well, the very first thing I noticed was that I was just straight into it. There was literally no delay being just able to pick up the pad and execute those same tricks that I was doing 20 years ago. I mean, it is an exact replication of the smoothness of the originals. It's just got that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater DNA, and it's all well and truly intact. Everything felt super snappy, jumping onto rails, executing manuals, doing the different flip tricks, and even just remembering what the special trick combos were, all just came back to me very naturally, which was awesome to see and also meant that I could still pull off some pretty sweet combos. And while it might be a bit of a weird experience almost having like a fighting game combo list to remember for a skateboarding game, trust me, if you stick with it, it just starts to click in your head and you begin just snapping in and out of tricks with ease. The goals themselves still had that same pro skater charm. You can expect things like hitting certain scores across the level, collecting skate letters, as well as those weird, but yeah, I guess we'll just accept it as zany part of the game goals like helping the thin man out on Suburbia. I'm still not quite sure what the hell's going on there, so if you happen to know if that's like a reference to something, drop it in the comments because I'd love to know. Anyway, those kind of goals are classic Pro Skater goals, and it's really cool to see them revamped and upgraded in the 3 and 4 remake because you got new cutscenes that just look incredible when you manage to actually tick them off the list. Like the one in Los Angeles where you're trying to trigger that earthquake. Hilarious. Something else that was new that I really loved is the fact that they've added in skitching to Pro Skater 3 maps. And this opens up so much potential for different combos or reaching different gaps on Pro Skater 3's maps because skitching can give you a serious speed boost into ramps or into different rails, which could potentially help you reach different portions of the map that you weren't able to before. Not to mention that the developers, Iron Galaxy, wanted to make sure that skitching was way easier to combo in and out of in this game, so you can link it up with longer tricks to make the biggest scores possible. Across all the maps that I played, Foundry, Canada, Rio, Suburbia, Los Angeles, College, San Francisco, and Alcatraz, they were all incredible, but what I was really impressed with was the brand new level that Iron Galaxy designed, Water Park. As the name suggests, this is basically a dilapidated, deserted water park that has been turned into a skateboarding heaven. There are these like winding water slides to grind down of that are huge, and I think if you're really good, you could probably link up all of the big water slides into one combo, which I'm definitely going to try when the game comes out. There's also some great bowls that you can just do loads of vert tricks in, as well as some great gaps to help link up the entire park. It's definitely one of the most vertical levels that have ever been in a Pro Skater game, so if you're looking for big air, big combos, Water Park absolutely nails it. And it's really weird because you'd kind of be forgiven for thinking that this was actually an original map in the games because it just has that indescribable Pro Skater feel that really jams very well with the whole flow of the game. I mean, the challenges, they've dotted them around on really fun obstacles. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the skate line in particular seems like a super fun one to try and do in one entire combo. That takes you across the whole floor level and then up and into a water slide, back down it, across a gap. It looks super fun. The only thing that I really wish I could have gotten more out of is just more playtime with the game and seeing the rest of the levels. But if you want to make sure that you're staying across all of the Pro Skater 3 and 4 news, make sure you subscribe to our channel because I'm sure we'll be able to get a copy a little bit early and talk through some more of those levels, as well as Creator Skater and, hopefully, New Game Plus. I'm dying to know what that means. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye!